When we talk about observability, of course, there is general observability that we have been talking about for, and now when you're running AI workloads, that's, we are talking different observability. And, of course, AI cannot fix what it cannot see. Uh, can you talk about what new challenge AI workloads agents are posing for players who do want to just know what is going on in the system?
I think what's happening to telemetry is really interesting because on one hand, there's more telemetry, as you mentioned, right? Monitoring AI workloads is very different. The classical three pillars of, logs, metrics, APM, they're now changing because they don't fit anymore. It's not the same as monitoring a distributed trace in the legacy microservices world to monitoring 50,000 spans in a AI workflow that uses 500 LLM calls a minute, right? It's different. It requires a different product. You can't sample the data in the same way. It's not deterministic. There's a lot of different changes in how we monitor AI, and groundcover is spearheading what is called AI observability, right? How we monitor agents, how we monitor AI workflows. But again, it's kind of two pulls to the same direction. More telemetry to monitor these things, more sensitive telemetry because my customers are now operating in front of my AI features as a company, right? And the data that my observability system now stores about monitoring these agents is much more sensitive than before. It might be even customer prompts, right? So it's more sensitive, more high cardinality, plus I need it for more use cases. I want to use the monitors from my AI agents to operate then something else that helps me build these agents, right? And kind of fix them. And I want to write evals that are based on AI to assume how fast and good they operate. So it's kind of two different pulls to the same direction. Groundcover is building both the AI observability product of what it means in 2026 to monitor AI, but both how you store it, how you consume it, how you interact with this telemetry throughout your stack so it's meaningful and useful.
Okay, observing, that's all fine. But can you also talk about failures? How are agentic or AI failures different from, we can use the term traditional failures, and what is groundcover doing to once again bring better visibility?
So the interesting thing about it is that there's a lot of things that are happening in non-deterministic path of that causes problems in how you treat errors, right? Before we used to thinking about, I have an API, right? There's multiple use cases on how to operate the API. It has variables. It can, go into different paths, right? But eventually, it's pretty deterministic given, a state, and it's being called 1,000 times a second. Maybe I want to sample, 0.5% of it, which is most of the industry. That's what we do to maintain a reasonable budget, and I will catch that error, right? If it's coming once in, 1,000 times, I will catch it if I sample correctly. Sampling errors and figuring out what is an error in AI is complicated both on how I store data and how I figure out what the data means, right? Even if there's a clear error, it might be so non-deterministic and rare that sampling will never find it, right? I might miss on a very prominent use case, but just because the cardinality now spanned into a trillion different options that the AI model can go in, I will not be able to fix that very important customer journey. And also in some cases, the answer looks perfectly valid, right? Our simple world of API status codes and, things that were more very deterministic of, 200 okay means okay. Now it's not. I have to run AI as a judge on top of it to figure out what this entire flow means. The flows are wider, so it can be great here and fail 2 minutes later, right? We're talking about 2-hour sessions sometimes. What does it mean to make sure to validate that the entire session is healthy? So it's both non-fit to how we used to thinking about data and sampling it and kind of collecting it, and both, even if I collect it, I have to use AI as well to make sure it makes sense.